All right, what is up, people? It is January 29th. This is going to be our last market analysis video of the first month of 2026. As always, it's going to the Discord members first. Everybody else will see it in a week or so on YouTube. Um, so I'm excited. Um, what I want to talk about today is where and how money flows because I think it's important. I think there are some opportunities, and I think um, the overall picture is a bit easier to see present day with everything that is happening politically, the way that it's affecting the overall macro story. And so we're going to look at some charts, and we're going to get right into it. All right. So let's remember here. Liquidity is a rotation. Now, I made a tiki-taki, posted it on YouTube as well, a short form video. Man, I can't talk. Uh, recently, in a minute long or so, just explaining a little bit about this because in my crypto cheat guide, I had the 4 year cycle. And in that cycle, I gave some estimated years for when the lows and highs would be for crypto, Bitcoin, all crypto, everything. What I want to be clear on is that those estimations of timing, those estimations of cycles are not because this is just the way crypto works and crypto invented this pattern. It did not. In all actuality, what is happening is that liquidity has always been introduced into the US system by the government. What does that mean? Money was printed, new money was printed, injected into the United States economy, and that creates these 4 year cycles. Now, what Bitcoin and crypto did more than anything is it made these patterns extremely evident. It made them extremely evident because the charts for Bitcoin became so clearly cyclical. It gave folks this map that they could follow. And in present times, that map has been a bit muddied, again, mostly because of some of the geopolitical uh, things we've been going through in the US. And so now I think we have an opportunity to really get into the why, and the story around precious metals is is the big one and uh the most obvious here. So we are going to pull up some charts here and start to look at some things because you will start to see what I am talking about the more we get into it. All right, all right. So let's share our screen. Let's start by looking at some gold shares. Look at that. Daily chart here. Gold is on a tear. Gold is on a tear. Almost what we got up to $510 here. That's that's moving, man. It's been climbing here for a while. Again, we started buying gold here. If you've been paying attention uh, to me, I've started talking about gold way back here. This is when I was talking about gold, when it wasn't really moving a whole lot. I personally didn't start buying in until here. But I know a lot of people did here. Silver, another precious metal, similar story, right? Just been on an absolute tear since August, an absolute tear. Now, markets, they don't move because of headlines. That's that's not what happens, right? The what truly happens is that uh, they move because of things like stability, inflation protection, uh, hard assets. Like these are the drivers behind the why capital and liquidity moves into any particular asset form, and those waves are felt in other areas as you move money out of one asset class and into another. The new class will grow where the previous would shrink, right? That part I think is a bit uh intuitive. Now, interesting, right? As we're seeing these huge gains from gold and silver, look what we're seeing out of Bitcoin, right? Downward action. It's downward action, right? Now, not really a coincidence, though, that as we were looking at the August charts, so let's for comparison here, right? Look here. August, do you see where we are for gold? And when do we really start to go on this tear? Um, hit a peak in October. We're peaking out again here in January. What does that look like for Bitcoin? Uh, well, for January, we're down big, right? We're look, August was our one of our peaks. That was a valley for gold. From then to now, we're down 30%. August to now, we're down 30% for Bitcoin. Let's go back to gold quickly here. Do the same thing. August to now, we're up 60%. Is this a coincidence? It is not. It is not. That's because the flow of money matters. Now, us, you and I, we are retail investors. And while we can impact markets, we are not institutions, we are not governments, we are not big money. We are not the billionaires of the world. So those whales, they truly move the waters more so than do us small fish. I think that's also something that is a little intuitive, right? Well, so how does money move uh in these cycles? These cycles I keep talking about. Well, they start with cash or bonds, especially when you're injecting cash into the system. Typically, they then flow into your precious metals. These are your security assets, gold, silver, copper, right? These are the places people trust. Think of it this way. When you need some valuable information, some wisdom, are you going to go to the older gentleman or woman who's been around for a while, 60, 70 years old, for that advice? Or are you going to talk to your younger brother and sister that is a freshman or sophomore in high school? Well, most of us are going to go to the older folks, right? Because they've lived more life, they've seen more things. That's where the wisdom is. Precious metals are that wisdom. They've been around for thousands of years. So the cash flows there for security. Bitcoin, tailed as the digital gold, is still a teenager. Bitcoin has not been around for a very long time. This guy here is still a child. It is maturing, but it is still a child. So for safety and security purposes, people go to precious metals first. From precious metals, the flow then goes to your large caps, large cap equities. What are large caps? It's these guys, the Netflix, the Googles, Nvidia, right? That's these guys. These are your large caps. Tesla. This is where all of the money is going to flow. Apple. Before it starts to hit your risk assets, even though Bitcoin considered that digital gold, it is still also considered a risk asset. So before we get there, we're going to make pit stops. And when I say we, we're talking about the overall pool of money, the overall pool of liquidity, making pit stops on those large cap equities. Then finally, we'll rotate into the smaller cap equities, of which will include even a Bitcoin, even though technically Bitcoin is an extremely large market cap, but because of the risk tolerance, money presently still going to places like your large cap equities and in the stock market prior to even a Bitcoin. Maybe someday that'll change. That we're expecting that at some point to change. But based on the charts and the movement of money, currently it hasn't. And then finally, you have your high beta plays, all the altcoins, miners, the even more riskier assets, right? And so what we're seeing out of the market is that presently, where is the money flowing? The answer is that it's at stage two. If cash bonds is stage one, precious metals is stage two, you are here. Look at this. You are here. All-time highs, right? In terms of the cycle, this is the map that we're starting to put together, we're presenting. You are here. Now, perhaps we'll start to probe into stage three at some point. And how do we know we get to stage three? Well, a good indicator is what is called the Russell 2000 index. This is what I would say represents a higher risk appetites. It is small caps. When the Russell starts to break upward, holding higher lows, right? That means people's risk appetite is starting to grow. Well, let's look at this on a weekly chart just for some more clarity. Because we are in an ascending channel. We are at an all-time high. But what we really want to see, what I wanted you to be able to see from this chart, is that this stagnating period here, right, from February or so, 2021, all the way through November 2021, and then we get this downward action, this distribution, right? That's what this is, a big distribution pattern. This is when we saw the climb of Bitcoin, the last major cycle, that period of time. Now, let's go take a look at Bitcoin for timing, right? Look, right? June 2021 through November 2021, we saw that big upward action, right? June, July to November. That was the previous cycle all-time high. Does this not align? Here we go. June, right? Here's this stagnating period for the Russell. We started hitting an all-time high here in March, and then we started to sputter out. Now, this still takes time, right? It's not like, boom, we stopped, we're there, all the money leaves. No, it takes time for people to realize, okay, we're going sideways. We are ranging. We've reached a point where people are exiting, right? Liquidity is now exiting, right? And where is it going? Into the more risky assets from June all the way through November here, right? That was distribution. And where did it get distributed to? The answer is your more risky assets like Bitcoin. We saw this huge upward momentum, right? So that's something that we're looking for out of the Russell currently, for money to flow from our stage two, our uh, gold, our silver, into the Russell. And are we reaching a peak? I don't know, right? I can't predict the future. But at some point, we're going to get distribution from gold and silver and these precious metals in the same way that we got distribution back in October, where we saw this come down. In the same way we got distribution October 24, right? In the same way we saw it sputter all here in 2025, 2023. Here's that same time period, right? 2021. What, see, no action with gold, right? Gold's not going up because it's not gold's turn in the flow of liquidity. My point is that the Russell can be used as a sign, right? As a sign that capital is rotating out of safety, precious metals, and into more risky assets. Go back to it here. And the fact that we are number one in this ascending channel, we're going up, it means it's a good thing. It means we might start to see that rotation in my book. And that to me aligns with the fact that gold is at all-time highs. It's not going to go up forever. At some point, it will go into distribution. Now, this is a reason for me, I've started selling gold. One of the hardest things is to, and this is always counterintuitive, right? The hardest things in investing is to buy when people are most fearful, when market sentiment is at its worst. It's a very difficult time to buy, but it's also the best time to buy. The other difficult thing is to sell when things are at their peak, when people are most excited, when market sentiment is at its highest. Everyone's so high on gold as it's at $500. Good time to sell. Did you dump all of it at once? Not financial advice. That is a decision for you to make. I don't ever sell anything all at once. I sell portions. I have targets and I sell portions. For me, I've started to sell. You guys have to make your own decisions there. But to me, looks like gold will at some point here start to distribute. We'll go to a daily chart. And look, you can see these candle structures here, right? You see how there's no wick at the bottom? No wick, no wick, no wick, no wick, no wick. That means only upward action, only upward action, only upward action. But there's no wick at the bottom. Only up, only up. Now we got a wick. Now we got a wick. We're also completely overbought on stochastic RSI. Does that mean gold is going to drop like a tank in an ocean? No. But at some point, we're going to go into distribution. And so gold being at an all-time high, being completely overbought, while the Russell is in this ascending channel. It hit a peak here. It's dipping down. Will it bounce off this? Who knows? But it's at some point, this thing, which is at all-time high levels, is going to start doing something like this. That's what I'm looking for. That's when we start to see your more risky assets like crypto start to go up a lot more. So that's going to take us, this is a little bit longer of a video, but I'm trying to cover a lot here. Go to Bitcoin for a second here. I've covered this extensively. I've told folks good buying zone is this 80K to 75K here. Not financial advice. But on a daily chart, we're already oversold. Down to 85 or so today. I expect this thing to drop some more. I expect to come down here to 80. I'm not sure we'll get that much under it. But who knows? I don't have a crystal ball, right? I don't have a crystal ball. What I do think is that hopefully you're positioned in a way to accumulate some Bitcoin as this thing is dropping. Because I do think we're looking like we're going to have some opportunities. I also think there are some opportunities to invest in some other areas that are in line with the Bitcoin story. And I've talked about those in the previous video, but I wanted to give a bit of an analogy as to why my head is going in this direction and why I think we're at the opportunity currently that these are some pretty good buys. Think of Bitcoin to be the digital gold that it is in a railroad cart that's being transported, right? And so in this analogy, the rails themselves, that's Ethereum, Solana, they're the infrastructure, right? They move value in the crypto space. It's why you want to own exposure to both of those things. If they're the rails, I think of things like Coinbase, PayPal. Those are the stations. Those are the on and off ramps for crypto. This is where people enter and exit, convert digital money into real world spending that split traffic into cities, right? And then you have Bitcoin miners. They're kind of like the power stations. They secure the network. They're the mint, they mint the supply, right? Now, all of these things are at some very key levels here. Now, you're looking at Ethereum. Ethereum is at a 50% level. I drew this out. If we go into a bear cycle, I think you could get Ethereum down here at $2,000 or so. But locally, this is a pretty good buying point for Ethereum. Look, support, 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 down here, support. So 2,700, that's a pretty good buying opportunity. Solana is the same. Look, support. It's been support all here. Support, 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 support. It's all been support. This support this whole time. Now, could you get an opportunity to grab Solana down here at, I don't know, 40, $50 in a bear cycle? Potentially. But sitting on top of this 50% marker here of this channel, not a bad buy. Not a bad buy if you're a long time investor. And there are more than one ways to invest in these things, right? We have BSOL. This is the Solana ETF. Again, same deal. These are completely oversold on a daily chart. This is at a support, an all-time support location, right? So these are good buying opportunities. FETH is the Ethereum ETF. Similar. Support, 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 support. Could it come down a little bit more and touch the bottom of this channel? Sure, but are you in a bad spot buying now? I don't think so. I don't think so. Could it break this channel at some point and come down here to 18, $17, that's possible, but I would just average down at that point. Again, on a daily chart, we're already oversold here. Let's look at PayPal. This channel right here, for me, this is a buy zone. I've started adding PayPal. This is a buy zone. This is all-time support back in October of 2023 at basically $50 or so. But we're at $53 now. You don't need to be perfect on these things, guys. Sometimes people get too wrapped up in getting a precise, perfect buy opportunity. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to know when you're investing over long periods of time, when is the best opportunities? Give me a range, a decent time. If you were buying over here at, 59 to $56, you basically had a few days to do so, and then it shot up to $78. What is this? Let's see. Going back from April 2025 to July, you could have made 40% PayPal. From October 2023 to January 2025, you could have made 80% on PayPal. We're roughly in the same location that we were back in October 2023. To me, this is a buy, not financial advice. You have to make that decision for yourself. Coinbase is in a similar boat. We're in a downward channel presently, but let me get rid of this so it's a bit more clear. Again, this for me is a buy zone. This is where I am adding to my position. I have started adding, because we touched this, I had a limit order set. I started adding Coinbase stock to my position. The last time we were at this bottom channel was here in April 2025. It got up to roughly, man, $439. That's 200% in just 109 days. So buying at the bottom of this channel, probably a good idea. Probably a good idea. Mara, which is a Bitcoin miner, again, bottom of a channel here, right? Bottom of a channel here. The last time we were at the bottom of a channel, bottom of this channel specifically, January 2023. By February 2024, you were up 939%. That took about a year and a half, year and a quarter. Now, let's look what this is what Mara did previous cycle. You see it kind of follows what Bitcoin did, right? Now, percentage wise, I mean, look at that. That's over 2,000% if you bought. Man, 200 days. That's crazy. Am I expecting that to happen? I don't know. I don't know. What I do know is that we're at the bottom of a channel. So that feels like a good buying opportunity for me. Could it break this channel and come down a bit lower? That's possible. But just average down. Again, not financial advice. My point in the whole Rails analogy is that you have several ways to own infrastructure around crypto and digital assets. And the timing for buying these things is prior to the overall liquidity flowing into these things. So to do that, you need to go in before gold money rotates out, before the large cap equity money rotates out. So if you are someone, again, not financial advice, who has been holding gold for a long period of time and you have been buying down here in August and you're now up 63%, taking some profit at an all-time high and rotating that capital into some of those rails we talked about, Solana, Ethereum, Coinbase stock, PayPal stock, Mara. Not a bad idea. Not financial advice. Rotating some of that gold profit into a Bitcoin as it's coming down here, not a bad idea. I hope these are, I hope this video is useful. I hope it's made some sense. I'm going to keep pumping these things out. Mr. Shadow out.